In 1903, in a small village in England, a boy named Ronald Reuel Tolkien played joyfully with his friends. However, upon returning home, he was surprised to find a priest there. His mother explained that the priest was Father Francis, a longtime friend of their late father. Father Francis had come to take them to Birmingham, where the church would provide for their needs, including housing, food, and education. Since their father's passing, life had been difficult, and though Tolkien wished to stay in the village, he had no choice but to leave. After packing, they moved to Birmingham. That night, their mother comforted her sons by reading them a fairy tale. She told them that there were two ways to escape poverty: marrying someone wealthy or finding treasure. Treasure is not just gold or money, but true friends who remind us of God and encourage us to move forward, she said. Tolkien remained silent, holding on to her words in his heart.
To the wood, the dragon lashed his tail and said, "Whoever thou art, the ruin, and the ruin all who..."
A year passed, and one afternoon after school, Tolkien found his mother sitting still, unresponsive. When he checked, he realized she had passed away. A few weeks after the funeral, Father Francis took Tolkien and his younger brother to the home of a noblewoman, Mrs. Faulkner, hoping she would adopt them. After a long discussion, she agreed. Time passed, and Tolkien's life changed at his new school. One afternoon in literature class, a mischievous student named Robert stole his book. However, since Tolkien had memorized its contents, he continued reading without hesitation. Robert, who initially intended to tease him, became intrigued. Though they often clashed at first, they grew close, especially after Tolkien discovered that the strict headmaster who frequently compared them was actually Robert's father. One morning, while tidying his room, Tolkien heard beautiful piano music. Curious, he checked and saw a lovely girl playing the piano. Her name was Edith. From that moment, Tolkien became captivated by her. One day, Robert invited Tolkien out for tea. As he had no money, Tolkien declined, but Robert insisted. At the cafe, they were joined by two other friends, Geoffrey and Christopher. They shared their dreams with each other. Robert wanted to be a painter. Despite his father's opposition, Geoffrey aspired to be a poet, though his family wanted him to work in an office, and Christopher wished to be a musician, but was expected to continue the family business. Inspired by his mother's fairy tales, Tolkien expressed his dream of writing stories that were not just simple tales, but masterpieces. From that meeting, they agreed to form a secret club. "We mustn't be cowards, or we'll be thrown into the hell of Hellimer," Robert declared. From then on, the four of them regularly met at the cafe, shared their works, and encouraged one another. Years passed, and Tolkien's relationship with Edith grew stronger. However, as he prepared for his Oxford scholarship exam, he spent too much time with her and failed. Father Francis agreed to support his studies on one condition: he had to leave Edith. With a heavy heart, Tolkien complied. 2 years later, life at Oxford was not going well. Tolkien's grades declined, and he was on the verge of expulsion. At his lowest point, he received a letter informing him that Edith was engaged. Feeling lost, Tolkien got drunk and began shouting in a language he had invented in his dormitory. Unexpectedly, a professor overheard him and became interested. He offered Tolkien a scholarship if he could write 5,000 words in his own language. With newfound determination, Tolkien accepted the challenge and secured a place in the philology department. However, Tolkien's dreams were shattered when Britain declared war on Germany. He and his 3 friends were drafted into the military. Before leaving for the battlefield, he reunited with Edith, who revealed she had broken off her engagement. Gathering his courage, Tolkien confessed his feelings, knowing that separation was imminent. 4 months later, war raged in France. Despite suffering from a high fever, Tolkien desperately searched for Geoffrey, who had not been heard from for weeks. He eventually found Geoffrey's location, but by the time he arrived, Geoffrey had already been sent to the front lines. Despite his worsening illness, Tolkien pushed forward until he collapsed and was sent back to England. When he regained consciousness in the hospital, he found Edith by his side. With teary eyes, she informed him that Geoffrey and Robert had perished, while Christopher survived but suffered severe trauma. A few days later, Father Francis handed him Geoffrey's final letter. "If I die, our club may disband, but our spirit must not fade. Fulfill our dream, publish my poems," Geoffrey wrote. Years after the war, Tolkien worked as a professor at Oxford, but he never wrote again. One night, Edith said, "I miss the old Tolkien." He realized he had neglected his friend's dreams. Gathering his courage, he visited Geoffrey's mother, handed her his late friend's poetry collection, and requested its publication. Years passed, and by 1930, Tolkien had a family. One day, he took his wife and children to his childhood village. There, he told them a story, just as his mother once did, a tale of an orphan boy in search of true treasure. Returning home, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. He began writing again, creating an adventure story that would one day be known worldwide.
Hobbit.